Montana GOP Senator Steve Daines. Steve, great to see you.
Great to be here.
Yeah, you guys are in the eye of the storm. First off, it gets spotted. The president wants to take it out Wednesday. The Pentagon says, who were ignored in Afghanistan, the withdrawal, will wait 4 days. Could they have shot down that balloon safely and not hurt any Montana residents?
Look, I'm a fifth-generation Montanan, spent a lot of time canvassing the state. There are plenty of places we could have taken that balloon down.
There's a 7-mile debris field.
The biggest risk would have been hitting a cow, a prairie dog, or an antelope.
So you don't buy this at all?
No, this is called Big Sky country. They had a chance to take the shot. In fact, they needed to take that shot when it first crossed into U.S. airspace there in Montana. Remember, it's hovering over our ICBMs. We're very proud of that mission in Montana. In fact, one of the slogans up there is scaring the hell out of America's enemies since 1962. The Chinese weren't afraid. Those ICBMs are weapons of mass destruction. Those are the most powerful weapons known to mankind. We have those in Montana, and as Ronald Reagan said, that's about peace through strength. The Chinese put that balloon right over the top of them.
Why did they not want to reveal that? I mean, because it took a couple of photographer who you know personally to take a photo, and which is something the Pentagon knew something about. Why didn't they shoot it down? What's the rationale?
Look, I mean, Blinken was planning to go to China. I think the White House wanted to keep this quiet. Had it not been for Larry Mayer, who was on the show earlier, I saw the interview. Larry's from Billings. He's a photographer. He happened to have a big telephoto lens in his car. I spoke with Larry last night. His buddy saw that white glow in the sky. Larry put his camera on it, got that great shot, and got it out.
Senator, Brian interviewed Chase Doak and Larry Mayer, the guy you're talking about. They work for the Billings Gazette.
Yep.
I know your parents grew up in Billings. It's 2 hours from where you live. Here's what they said. They're the first to spot it and send the pictures out to the government. Listen.
Just read the story about a ground stop in place at our airport here in Billings, and I thought that was kind of suspicious. And so I was sort of glancing out the window just to see if there was any aircraft coming in. Instead, as I was gathering my things, I just spotted this circle in the sky, and I knew it was something that was kind of out of place.
I put together all the pictures that I had taken and started sending them to the FAA. They eventually put me in touch with NORAD. The only thing I got from them was that they were crafting a response. That's what their email said. And about an hour after that, the news broke at the Pentagon.
I think there was definitely an opportunity to bring it down. And honestly, I mean, if it had worked the way that it should have, I should have never seen this thing to begin with.
U.S. intel officials say that the balloon was not transmitting any intel information over to China at the time, but Mike Pompeo is saying that's probably not true. He's saying China probably got all this collection that they needed in those first few days before we shot it down.
Yeah, look, the bigger issue here was the response to that balloon. This was really more of a trial balloon by the Chinese. They took a look at how decisive is this president. The president was indecisive. He projected weakness at this moment. It's exactly what the Chinese wanted to see happen.
But, Senator, what's worse is, once again, the Pentagon, if we're to believe things, and I don't know if we do, the president says shoot it down. And they said, yeah, in 4 days, when we get a chance, it's too much of a risk. Who's the president?
Oh, my word.
Who's the president?
Brian, it was a joke. It's as if he thought it was like the Chinese spy balloon tour making its way across America, selling T-shirts.
Right.
I mean, this was a serious breach of U.S. airspace.
But instead of the Chinese apologizing, they say the U.S. used force to attack a civilian unmanned airship. And there's going to be repercussions. Repercussions? What are they going to do?
Well, it's one more failure of several of this administration. Go back to the Afghanistan withdrawal debacle. The president is pleading with Iran and Venezuela to supply oil to the United States. And here's one more example of a failure of projecting weakness of the United States of America.
Well, speaking of weakness, the State of the Union's coming up. You're actually bringing a father who lost his son to fentanyl to the State of the Union to highlight the crisis at the border, our drug crisis. And yet, we see the reverberations even in this city of illegals. So now we've got news. By the way, they say migrants, but it's really an asylum complex of illegals where they exploit that system. Now Mayor Adams is busing them up to Canada. So this is a problem that's made its way throughout the entire.
New Yorkers are paying.
New Yorkers are paying to bus illegals up to Canada. You're highlighting the fentanyl crisis. How bad is it?
Tell you what, we're a northern border state. We just talked about the incursion into our airspace, but we have a southern border crisis. It's because these 2 million illegals coming across the border this last year, but it's the fentanyl and the drugs that are absolutely literally killing us in Montana. So Tom Schraps is my guest at the State of the Union address. He's from Butte, Montana, Tragically, he lost his 24-year-old son to a fentanyl overdose last year. We lost 8 Butte residents last year to fentanyl. This is a crisis. We have a record level of fentanyl deaths now in this country. It's a direct result of the Mexican cartels who are producing it and flooding it across the southern border. And our Border Patrol agents, they want to stop that fentanyl. But they can't because they're overwhelmed by the illegals coming across the border. And Biden can stop this. He can stop this if he changes policy and build the wall.
I'm just curious, how much has the Yellowstone series helped your state? Have you seen more tourists?
Oh, my word. Everybody wants to move to Montana now. Yeah, it's driving the real estate prices up. Everybody thinks we have helicopters, you know, and fly around the state watching cows.
We were saying before the show this morning that if it's true, if the show is accurate, if the people are like that, they're awesome, they're cowboys, they would have shot that thing down themselves.
Listen, on the day that the news broke and Montanans could see it, our phones were overwhelmed with calls from Montanans.
Were they?
Asking us, what can we do to help? What can we do to help our country right now? It was a great moment.
Good people.
We said, we're going to let the Air Force take care of this.
But thank you.
Yeah, but thank you.
The Air Force didn't take care of it. Or at least wasn't allowed to until South Carolina.
Where's Kevin Costner?
Yeah, that's right.
Brought him in.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Senator.
Thank you.
Appreciate you coming in.
Thanks for being
Pleasure.
here.
Thanks.